Anyway, getting on to the last segment of the day, what we've been sipping on, as we always get into. It's any of the media that you've been consuming, whether it be TV, film, music, anything. Last weekend, Katie was talking about a cracked chicken recipe. So, I mean, realistically, could be anything. And just let us know in the chat, in the comments, if you have anything that you've been sipping on that you think that we should check out. Definitely post it in the comments and subscribe. But get into it, Jack. What you been sipping on, dog?
So been getting back into reading a whole lot, and I just got my first copy of Ching, which I haven't read since college. I highly encourage anyone to get this. You can get it off Amazon for like $8.99 paperback. And if you're not familiar with Taoism, you should look into it. It's amazing.
Can you get into it just a little bit? And by the way, I'm highly thinking of starting to get into reading. I've been a historic non-reader since grade school. I've always hated reading, but I'm thinking about picking it up a little bit more and seeing if I can get into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just find stuff that you like to read first, and then you'll get into it.
I'm so slow. That's the biggest deterrent for me. I'm such a slow reader.
Well, it's like a muscle. Like if you don't use it, the more you do it, you'll get better at it. You'll comprehend a little bit more as you read it.
And I have too, especially with stuff like the podcast, is reading through articles or whatever that we get for the podcast or whatever. So yeah, but still more of a video guy. But anyway, continue with it. Taoism.
Right. Well, so the Tao Te Ching is essentially a very small book, very very thin. You can see, and it's just like wisdom. Literally, like I couldn't describe it any better than that. It's just little things that you can take, and they just make a whole lot of sense. The Tao translates to the way, right? There's not one. The thing I love about it is there's not one way for anyone. No. The way could be many different things. It's not like Christianity, you're a sinner unless you do this type shit.
Right.
And one of my favorite things, very early on in rereading, something simple like. You want to be a type of person that produces but does not hoard, right? You act but expect no praise. You build, but once you build, you don't dwell within, right? Things like that. You're not sucked into the materialistic parts of it. Like a great ruler who doesn't signal the importance of being virtuous, but instead lavishes in all their riches. You're not going to have a lot of people under you who were virtuous. Instead, you're breeding a society that wants to steal all your riches.
Sure.
Because that's what's important to you. Yeah. That's what's important to them. It's a reflection. So things like that. Man. Yeah. Just a lot of. I like to take this with me when I'm stuck in traffic. Because when I'm stuck in traffic, I could just like woo-saw and quickly read.
Passage and just makes you feel better. Yeah,
and not road rage. Like that's something I've been doing.
Yeah, so. Do you road rage a lot?
That's literally the only time in my life that I really get angry.
Okay, that for me,
I really get angry.
For me, that's like video games. Video games, bro. I get so fucking mad at video games. So mad. Road rage.
I can get mad. I can get mad at video games, but I'm just
you know who
I'm usually slapping people. So
yeah, well, that's actually when I start to get the worst at video games. Like getting mad at it is like when I'm super good at it. Like when I'm highly competitive at a video game, and I feel like I got cheated, which happens a lot more when I'm actually like shitting on people. Like you got 10 kills in a row, and then all of a sudden you die because of like a lag spike or what you claim to be a lag spike or whatever. Start raging immediately. So the better I get, the more likely I am to rage. But you know who also has road rage? There's like one of the things that like really triggers them the most. My dad.
Really?
Oh, dude. My dad fucking... if someone's driving too slow, and keep in mind, my dad does not go a mile per hour over the fucking speed limit. So if you're going like 32 and a 35, he'll drive by you at 35 and like make kill yourself gestures at him. Yeah, dude. He gets hot, bro. He gets hot, man. It's
he
fucking
his, inner Dennis Reynolds on,
yeah, bro. A little bit of my old Jack Daniels sipping dad coming out and with the road rage sometimes, man. Oh, and that reminds me, fucking bro. I gotta tell you, my dad. So when I was down there, on fucking Thursday night when I landed, I took a nap. middle of the day. We got up and we started getting turned. We were listening to Green Day, just like partying in the golf cart and stuff like that. But my dad got like bloated from the beer or whatever and said it made him feel like shit. So he started sipping Jack Daniels again the next day. And like I was drinking a little bit of Jack with him. He wakes up on Friday, the third day that I was there. And he goes, you know what? I think I'm going to start drinking Jack Daniels a little bit more. And like he was going around telling people and stuff like that. He's like, I didn't feel as bad or whatever. I was like, I feel you, Dad, but you remember why you stopped drinking Jack Daniels, right? And he's like, yeah, because your mom left me and took my Trans Am. So we'll see what Papa Spillz does. I think at this point in his life, though, it's not going to be nearly as much of an issue. I don't think that he is.
When was that? When was that?
Fucking back when Mark and Danny were still kids and they were dating. He had a Trans Am. He had a black Trans Am with the golden Firebird on it, man. And they were playing Monopoly, and like they must have been young to a point where like my dad was like really schooling them and like taking advantage of them on Monopoly. And my mom got mad and fucking she took the Trans Am and left. That was back in those days. I don't know if he was necessarily sipping that Jack, but my mom did give him the ultimatum after that. You either fucking drop the Jack Daniels or you drop me, one or the other. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot turned around for my dad at that day. So hopefully he doesn't go back into old ways. But I think he's good, man. I don't think.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But yeah, man, the Islander life, they love it down there. So I'm really proud of them. Fucking, they're having a good time down there. You need to come visit.
Bro, once I'm not broke, I'll do all kinds of shit, man.
Well, we need to get unbroke real quick. I'm working on it. I'm trying to.
Me too.
I'm
talking. Second job.
I'm talking about for everybody. I'm trying, but fucking dude. And it's like in the last segment that we were talking about before, it's just like everything's an algorithm, bro. Trying to figure out how to hit that algorithm is so difficult. So fucking difficult. But anyway, you been sipping on anything else, man?
Wieners.
Well, that ain't nothing new. Fucking, you always sipping on wieners. So, fucking, you ain't got any fucking video games or TV shows you've been watching?
No, man. I mean, I keep it simple. Me and my son, we have been watching Guardians of the Galaxy, like because it just came out. It's on Disney Plus. So we're watching all of those.
Mm-hmm.
And I play a lot of Zelda with my boy, and that's about it. I'm just being a dad down here living life.
Okay. So one thing that I guess I'm going to get into on my sipping on or whatever. One, have you watched Quarterback? I've talked about this on a couple of them, so I don't want to get too far into it. But
I watched the first episode.
You watched the first episode? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I recommend checking it out and watching that. But also, right before I got on here, I checked out the Johnny Manziel Untold, the sports documentaries they do on Netflix. And it was pretty good. It was only like an hour and 15 minutes long, and I think that they could have gone a lot deeper into that. They kind of showed where his mindset was at, and I mean, it was something that I always understood with Johnny Manziel. Like, he was thrust into the limelight and became like a national not figurehead. I guess that's not a good word for it, but he got thrust into the limelight, and he didn't necessarily have the personality to deal with it, and at such a young age, he ran into a lot of issues. And he's doing a lot better now. But they kind of bring you into the backgrounds of that. It was stuff that I kind of had already known, but they kind of like actually openly were talking about on this one. But I just think that the entire documentary could have been more powerful if they would have like kind of picked on individual games like during his college. Like, he had this game against Duke that I vividly remember. I was at Nick Hutzel's house in his basement, and we were all drinking and stuff. And it was a bowl game against Duke, and Duke was up like 48-0, and he came back and won that game like 52-48 in the second half. It was the craziest fucking comeback I've ever seen in sports ever. And like, if they just would have taken that and kind of showed, like the glamorized version of Johnny Manziel and just how extraordinary of a college player he was, and then showed the translation to how shit of a player he was at the Browns. Because he comes out and says, once I got to the NFL, he's like, I didn't care anymore. And the second that they cut me, it felt like a huge burden was lifted off my shoulders. So I think that they could have done a little bit more, but they probably had time restraints. So, yeah, there's that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So definitely check that one out. And the other one that I have is Demon Slayer. I might try and save this for a different episode because I don't think that you're going to be able to give me too much feedback with it. But then again, I don't know anybody else who is on it regularly that will. But so fuck it. I'll just get into it a little bit because I'm just going to go on a little bit of rant here. If you got any questions about it, just let me know. But Demon Slayer is it's this long running, not long running. It's been going on since like 2019, 2020 or something like that. It's this animation. It's an anime, and it is super well animated, and everyone rants and raves about it. But the story progression of the characters just is not there for me. Like, I just got done watching the newest season, and don't get me wrong, the animation keeps me coming back because it is that fire. They are doing stuff that no one else is. They're spending like $100,000 per episode, but it's like half the season was a flashback of a character who has like maybe 50 lines of dialogue up until the flashback that they have. And it's just kind of like, why are we wasting time doing this when we could add like maybe an extra 5 episodes to help expand upon the characters a little bit more? And then in my opinion, once you've expanded on those characters a little bit more, it'll also amplify the fight scenes that you have that people are there for. But that's just me. Because I know Sam absolutely loves the show. But we talk about it all the time, and even he was talking to me. I was talking to him about it today because I just finished up last night. He was like, yeah, he's like, there were times when I was reading the manga where I'd be lying if I said that I didn't wish that there was a little bit more panning out of some of the characters. So, yeah, that's my rant. Besides that, the ending kind of had some plot armor, and they had me for a second. I thought they were going to kill off a character, and I was like, oh, shit, some drama that this show actually really needs, because I love when a show's not afraid to kill off a character, like a main character. And then they just kind of plot armored her back into the show, and it was a little bit disappointing. But yeah, that was my rant on Demon Slayer. So,
yeah, I don't get into anime too much. I wish I had time for it, but
yeah, no.
I'm still trying to make more time to get back into taking care of myself, like as far as physically. I do a lot of mental work, but
right,
I can't get fat, bro.
Oh, dude, and actually, I can talk if you want to talk about that a little. What we've been sipping on today and Wednesday were my first 2 days back into the gym. Because
how's your back?
So it's something that I've been dealing with for a while now. I've had back issues. There was a time like back 2018, Stabby Fest and stuff like that, where I had pulled the thoracic muscle off my rib cage, and that's when I was doing like a bunch of PT and stuff to get over it. It was a real rough time in my life or whatever. I essentially re-injured that. I've filed a workers' comp claim. They haven't got back to me, so I haven't been able to see the doctor about that specifically. But it's one of those things where I know that it's just going to be like kind of a nagging sensation, overly nagging. I don't want to say like it's just discomfort because it does hurt. It like legitimately hurts. But I know that I'll be able to continue like my actual like day-to-day works. So I came in on Wednesday and did some really light workouts, really light chest day. And I've also been having a chest issue too that I'm still dealing with. But my whole thing with that, like you said, I want to be physically active. I do want to lift weights. I do want to work out and stuff like that. Now I'm trying to find a way that does it that it's not going to like burden me physically. So that's kind of where I'm at. Felt a little bit weird yesterday, but not too bad. I guess I hit legs today, so we'll see how I am tomorrow. But they're definitely light compared to what I usually do. And I also do know like PT last time, they had me do a lot of the exercises that I already do for like my back and stuff to just basically like stretch it out, work it out a little bit. So the best thing I can do is just kind of work it out, maybe not take it too hard in the gym because I like to lift heavy. But I think that in the long run, you ever had like one of those days where you lift and like, or where your like back hurts or something or any part of your body and you just go in and force yourself to lift and it feels better after you lift? Does that ever happen to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, similar thing with like my leg, my left leg, like essentially my knee, would get really sore, and I'd be like, oh, I guess I can't ride my bike, and then I just keep doing that for days. And then one day I'd be like, you know what, like how long is this gonna last? I'm gonna ride my bike, and the next day I'm sore, but it's a different soreness, like workout soreness. It's like I just needed to use my body,
right?
I don't know.
And I already know that's kind of what will happen with my back. Working that specific part is going to have it. I also have a protruding disc in my right side. protruding dick in my right side. Protruding disc in my right side. Which now that I've what
are they all micro?
They are all micro. Yeah, it's a very small protruding dick. It barely even gets past the rib cage.
All right, come on. Let's get through this shit.
Okay.
I mean, you're just going to goof off this and be 2 hours of stupid shit.
No, we're about ready to end it up. But yeah, I think that because now that I've re-aggravated the left side, that it does pull out the rest of my back. Because once you irritate anything, it kind of spreads. But I think working out's going to be okay. And I'm hoping to find a point where my chest feels okay. And I think that's where I'm at with my chest, or hoping. We'll see. So last time I tried to work it, it made it worse like 2 days later. But I'm hoping that once I work it out and just kind of like stop being a bitch about it, it'll work. But we'll see what happens. So, yeah. You have any closing comment?
Yeah, I want anyone who watches this, I want to know 2 things. 1, who do you think's better as Captain Falcon in Smash Bros. Between he and I? And 2, who's cuter between he and I?
Well,
So I want to know. Leave it in the comments.
leave in the comments. You don't want to get into this just a little bit because, I mean, I
No,
might not be able to
no.
whoop you in Smash Brothers, but I'll fucking Captain Falcon punch the fuck out of you in real life. Way better than you ever will me.
You don't have the heart. We've been through this.
I do have the heart.
You don't have the heart.
Jack,
No.
it's okay. You're the ugly one. This has been episode 65 of Your House Our Rules. Peace.